Hey everyone, my name is Asael Meir, Oz for short, and I'm a partner at CohnReznick National Technology Practice. Today I'm joined by Tim Harned from Progress Partners to discuss the resurgence of buy now, pay later transaction. Tim, thank you for joining us. To kick us off, what do we mean? What do we mean when we say buy now, pay later? And really, what led to the resurgence of it?
Yeah, great to be here, Oz. Thanks so much. Buy now, pay later. Yeah, by the acronym BNPL. It's kind of the old school installment payment plan that a lot of us had heard about, and in the history books and perhaps grew up with. But at a high level, I think for today's consumers, the credit card model is really broken, as it's increasingly difficult to use credit cards to make large purchases, given the significant interest components coupled with the overhang of challenged credit scores. For example, there's a recent survey where I think 40% of the respondents said that they use BNPL services to make purchases that wouldn't otherwise fit in their budgets. Certainly, credit cards can offer these benefits as well, but BNPL solutions, sometimes called pay in four, as an example with PayPal, they allow you to pay in four services payments with no interest and no late fees. That gives consumers a way to stretch out hefty purchases for longer periods of time without accruing interest at the punitive rates of credit cards. Further, sometimes the pay later offerings actually aren't even reported to credit card bureaus. In addition, what I've seen is that BNPL concepts or services plans are really predicated upon removing as much friction from the checkout as possible, which certainly makes spontaneity and purchase behavior more of a reality. And merchants, want to do whatever they can to encourage spontaneity in buying patterns.
Fantastic. And do you think this trend is here to stay?
Oh, yes, I think so. You're starting to see some big leaders like Apple, Amazon, in partnership actually with a firm that I'll speak about in a minute, and increasingly, as I said earlier, PayPal with their Pay in 4. You're seeing those initiatives having obviously BNPL characteristics behind them. But we've also, I think more importantly, seen some massive disruption with leading startups in the space. Just to name a few, Klarna, out of Europe, carries a valuation now north of $45 billion. They've raised almost $4 billion privately. You have a firm which actually went public. That's now trading around a $40 billion market cap. As I mentioned, the firm is actually working now with Amazon to help Amazon deliver BNPL to Amazon's e-commerce sites. We also have Afterpay, another deal you might recall that was recently acquired by Square for almost $30 billion toward the tail end of the summer. So all told, just looking at those three startups, you have $110 billion of value. So it's hard to imagine looking at that we're not going to have people there. And then some of the old folks, MasterCard just announced, I think, end of last month, their concept of MasterCard installments, which is scheduled to be available, I think, in Q1 2022, so that they can kind of, get into that game and help further BNPL. So yes, I think it's here to stay, no question.
Yeah, and I think, to that point, it's been around for a while. It got a resurgent, and I think a function of current economic environment, in concerns of inflation, in valuations through the roof across the board. You just mentioned some of the numbers of the more well-known fintechs out there. I think the reality is, there is a lot of appeal to buy now and pay later, even if it's at a slight higher price and pay over time. I guess maybe to wrap it up, maybe you can give a couple of examples of where you're seeing this concept really take trench or evidence of it really happening in our business.
Yeah, I think so. And in the fintech practice here at Progress Partners, we're actually seeing it a little bit analogous to not only our M&A business but also on the capital markets side. I think as a couple examples, maybe in the past, buyers might have used earnout contingent payments to bridge valuation gaps or de-risk projections or development milestones. What we're starting to see actually in more of the middle market and the smaller market, frankly, this concept has now been replaced with what I would call a deferral mechanism, where the buyer isn't fronting 100% of the purchase price, but is actually rather spreading it out over time while paying a slightly higher overall price for the enterprise. Said differently, a little bit of an interest payment, if you will. and that enables the buyers to have the ability to spread those payments out to a seller over time. It's, I think, less of a phenomenon in larger transactions, but certainly, as I said, in the smaller middle market transactions, where financing can sometimes be a challenge, has been a way to deliver some creative market solutions to ensure you get those M&A deals done. I think flipping gears here a little bit on the capital formation side, you're actually seeing situations where you're having one round, whether it's an A, a B, or C round, but it's actually being funded in multiple tranches. So that's allowing the investor, to not front 100% of their commitment all at once, and therefore hold on to some of that commitment to keep a little bit of their current investment, funds, gaining return, i.e. a little bit of, interest in capital gain prior to needing to fulfill the balance of that funding commitment. So we actually are starting to see it. I think it's all about, creativity, in many instances, to get transactions accomplished, and this seems to be a way to
get it done.
Bring the two together and get it done. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Wonderful. I'll tell you, where we're seeing it probably the most, again, not a new concept, is the idea of equity compensation, incentivize employees, and the idea of, I'm going to buy your services today and get you the value maybe at a premium, giving up some of my dilution and capital gains down the line when you ultimately get out. So again, buy now, pay later type of concept. So Tim, again, thank you very much for joining. I truly enjoyed the conversation, the insights, and I really look forward to doing this again soon and staying in touch on LinkedIn.
Absolutely, Oz. Thanks so much. Appreciate the time. Take care.